What does it mean to awaken or become enlightened? How does awakening occur? What are the stages and signs of awakening? How do we navigate through the spiritual path, raising our levels of consciousness? Are there really step-by-step systems that can help you awaken and progress? Should you let things unfold on their own time, or are there ways to accelerate the process? These are some of the questions I will do my best to answer in this video. I'll also share a free energetic tool that you can use to accelerate your spiritual development and raise your level of consciousness permanently. We will begin by talking about what spiritual awakening is and the typical misconceptions about it. Then we will progress to different paths of awakening and systems, along with what the main methods are for getting awakened and progressing on the path. We'll end with some contemplation of my own journey, what I've learned, and some tips I can share. Let's start. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, the waves gently lapping at your feet. You can see the surface of the water, feeling the coolness against your skin. Hear the rhythmic sound of the waves. But beneath the surface, there's a whole world that remains unseen, a world teeming with life, with depth, with mysteries waiting to be discovered. This is much like our understanding of consciousness. On the surface, we all have a sense of what consciousness is. It's what allows us to experience and interact with the world around us. But beneath the surface, there's much more to discover. The importance of understanding consciousness cannot be overstated. Our level of consciousness influences how we perceive the world, how we relate to others, and how we understand ourselves. It shapes our values, our actions, and ultimately our impact on the world. But more than that, understanding consciousness can lead to profound personal transformation. It can lead to increased peace, contentment, and a deep sense of connection with all of life. It can help us navigate life's challenges with greater ease and resilience and open us to a level of well-being that goes beyond what we typically conceive of as happiness. Like many, my journey was sparked by the teachings of spiritual authors like Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie, who found light amidst the darkness, awakening from the depths of despair and egoic collapse. While the power of now has illuminated the path for millions, the practical how-to often remains elusive. Suffering, while a potent catalyst, is not the sole gateway to spiritual curiosity. Whether through pain or other curiosity to explore the universe, the consciousness, our paths are uniquely ours, ripe with potential for exploration and discovery. What is spiritual awakening? Embarking on a spiritual awakening is like stepping into a vibrant journey where your view of the world transforms entirely. It's like moving from a regular day to suddenly seeing everything in richer colors and feeling a deeper connection to life around you. The perception of a rigid, egoic sense of who you are starts to fade away and become more transparent, and a feeling of space starts to expand in your perception. The feeling of who am I doesn't feel localized anymore behind your eyes where it used to feel. When you inquire, who am I? You experience yourself as being the awareness from where every phenomena is rising. The border where you end and the world starts, it begins to fade away. A definition for non-duality is one without another, as in you are one with everything. There is no separation. Ultimately, you find a new way of living where inner peace becomes your constant companion even when life gets stormy outside. Awakened individuals often feel a strong desire to help others and make a positive impact in the world. They live with honesty, form deep connections with others, and might place less importance on material possessions or social status. The journey, while it can be tough, it leads to a life filled with love, peace, and a beautiful kind of freedom making every step worthwhile. Some people describe it as coming home. In his later years, the developmental psychologist Abraham Maslow introduced self-transcendence as a pinnacle in his famous hierarchy of needs, where one acts for the greater good beyond personal needs and desires, embodying a form of enlightenment. There are books upon books describing this awakening and the processes, so let's focus in this video on the systems and roadmaps getting there. This journey has its phases. Initially, you might experience brief moments of deep peace and connection, perhaps when you're amidst nature or in meditation. In most cases, this is a gradual process, unlike, for example, with the case of Eckhart Tolle. Sometimes there are these honeymoon phases, like for example, I experienced a total cessation of mind for about 2 weeks after my initial awakening, but it then faded away. But it started the process of awakening. Something fundamental changed in my perception of the sense of self, which continued deepening as I continued to practice. During the process, you might go through challenging phases, often referred to as dark night of the soul, where old fears and beliefs start to break down, making room for new insights. These usually last days, or even some cases weeks or months. In the whole process, in addition to insights and mental changes in pursuing the world, I also experienced physical sensations as releases of tension, especially in the face, jaw and neck area, but pretty much overall in my body, accompanied with energies running through my body. But these all will pass, and the amount of felt freedom, contentment and peace will increase. Just before we continue, who am I? I'm Tuomas Helkala. I'm the founder of Rebel Energetics, an empowered life mastery program. As you noticed, English isn't my native language, but bear with me, we'll get through this together. I'm a certified integral therapist, trained in evolutionary dynamics by Ken Wilber, and a facilitator of the work by Byron Katie, among other therapeutic methods. My passion for energy and consciousness work led me to become a meditation and mindfulness teacher, and I've delved deep into various energy healing modalities, for example, vortex healing, rasa, and many trainings by the Spiritual Unfoldment Network. But let's continue. Typical misconceptions about awakening. Spiritual awakening, often mystified and misunderstood, is not a magic bullet that brings instant bliss or immediately gives you solutions to life's challenges. It doesn't grant infinite knowledge, nor does it ensure a life completely free from emotional pain, physical health issues, or mental health challenges. Awakening is not about achieving perfection, acquiring supernatural powers, or reaching a final endpoint in personal development. It doesn't automatically transform life circumstances or relationships, and it's not an exclusive experience reserved for a few select or those following a particular spiritual path. The journey of awakening is deeply personal, varied, and continues to unfold, often in subtle and sometimes challenging ways throughout one's life. It's a profound shift, yes, but it doesn't exempt one from the human experiences of emotion, challenge, and growth. There's also deconditioning and integration work needed. Let's then talk about different paths to awakening. We'll begin with the question, does awakening happen spontaneously, or is it a result of intentional practice? Stories of spontaneous awakenings, like those of Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie, often involve a total shattering of the egoic world, revealing the illusions crafted by the mind when the existential suffering becomes too much to handle. Sometimes you hear like people are on the edge of suicide and then they wake up. Yet, is awakening purely spontaneous, or can it be nurtured through practices like meditation, energy work, or different pointing out exercises, which you commonly see especially in non-dual circles? The dance between effort and grace in spiritual practices is a paradox we'll explore together. In a sense, it's most likely true that you can't force someone to wake up. The person needs to be ready for it. But I strongly believe and have experienced myself that you can amp up the probabilities for it to happen. I've often heard from non-dual seeing teachers that there's nothing to do, you already are it. Well, technically we all have the potential in us, but before awakening happens, we don't realize it yet. Thus, there are ways to help actualize this untapped potential. I will now introduce a couple of different maps and systems for the evolution of consciousness or spiritual growth and awakening. I've myself studied and benefited from all of these on my own journey. We don't have time to go in depth into these systems now, and that isn't the point of this video. After the short intros, we'll use one of the roadmaps as an example to demonstrate the typical progression. Whichever the path is, spontaneous or intentional, I think this meme describes nicely why many people embark on this journey. There's a strong craving to end the existential suffering and a deep yearning to experience something more than this material world, perhaps something deeper. We have an inherent sense of being there. I know it's a joke, but it's got a good point. Let's continue. If you are keen on diving deep into self-discovery and different transformative methods to support you on your journey, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss the future insights we'll be sharing. Exploring maps of consciousness and awakening. The way different maps and systems determine where a person is on their path varies. Dr. Jeffrey Martin's research uses qualitative interviews in which they've talked to thousands of people who have awakened and described how they perceive their state of being. Then the research organized all these experiences to different locations and reverse engineered the methods people had used to initiate the awakening to that state. In their research, they also noticed that the definition of what different lineages and traditions see as full enlightenment has differences. This is why I also include here a couple of different path maps to get a comprehensive view. In PhD Terry O'Fallon's developmental model called Stages Matrix, they analyze the language a person uses answering a quite long survey to determine where they are on the map. The questions help to show how people experience the world. Systems like Ramachy's LOC, which stands for Level of Consciousness, Vortex Healing by Rick Weinman, and the 13 Pumi model by Amrita Mandala, on the other hand, analyze your energetic system done by a practitioner sensing your current stage. I found it useful to cross-reference these different systems to get as accurate view as possible because there are differences in the systems and they complement each other. Ramachy and the LOC 1000. Ramachy's LOC 1000 provides a map charting levels of consciousness from 0 to 1000, with 1000 embodying pure enlightenment, transcending ego and realizing pure awareness. This system uses energetic transmission and self-inquiry, inspired by the teaching of Ramana Maharshi. And those are the main methods to progress on the path. I found the rasa transmission very useful on my own journey, and I use it pretty much daily. Dr. Jeffrey Martin, through his research of interviewing thousands of awakened people on persistent non-symbolic experiences, identifies several different locations of fundamental well-being, and that is what they call awakening, different states of awakening. And it's offering insights into varied experiences of spiritual states. There are mixed methods of meditation, positive psychology, and several best practices from many different teachers used in their courses and trainings. I did their 12-week Finders course in, I think, 2018, and it supported my initial awakening, and I've taken pretty much all of their courses they've offered during the years, especially about how to explore different locations, deepen and also integrate this all into a normal material life. Fallon's stages matrix outlines a developmental journey towards recognizing and embodying one's true nature. This is more of a developmental model where they see everyone starting from the same point after being born and then progressing forwards. The met-aware stages are the beginning of awakening. This model is constantly developing and they are adding new stages as the research goes forwards. Several years ago I had this testing done, but I definitely should revisit it now as things have progressed for me as well. Vortex healing, a modality of divine energy healing which uses channeling of divine energy to transform emotional and karmic roots, raising vibrational frequency and promoting spiritual awakening. In vortex healing, the process of awakening involves channeling divine energy to peel away veils of separation and illusion, facilitating holistic healing and transformation on multiple levels and progressively deepening the embodiment of one's divine nature in everyday life. Vortex healing tools are one of my most used ones, and I use them daily as well. They have both an healing and awakening paths in their system. Amrita Mandala by Amrita Baba utilizes a 13 Bhumi model as a practical path map towards full enlightenment or Buddhahood, aligning each Bhumi or ground, in other words, with specific subtle energy centers within our energy body. The roadmap consists of opening and perfecting these 13 bhumis and then reaching the light body using different methods such as non-meditation and tantric means, some Kriya Yoga things to work on the meridian systems as well. I've used these methods daily for several years and also studied in their training program on how to support others, but I'm not officially doing work for them. A structured approach to awakening. The process of awakening, as I see it, involves utilizing tested and proven methods for initial awakening, which encompasses the realization of no self and authentic detachment from thoughts. This can be mapped as reaching LOC 600 in Ramachi's system, location 1 in Dr. Jeffrey Martin's research, 5.0 met-aware in the stages model, losing the core veil in vortex healing, and opening the first Bhumi of the Amrita Mandala 13 Bhumi model, and so forth. But the initial awakening isn't the end point. Referring to Ramachi's map, the person starts to be ripe for spiritual awakening and have begun seeking it somewhere in the LOC 500 to 599. Before that, they are not interested in these topics. But in the 500 to 599, they start to seek. The journey continues from LOC 600, which is realization of no self, the first stage of non-duality, to LOC 700, which is the realization of cosmic self, LOC 800, which is a state where love is really the predominant feeling. Then on to LOC 900 and finally to LOC 1000, which is the complete realization of non-duality and the submergence of the seeker's ego consciousness into pure self. Other systems and more traditional spiritual traditions and lineages outline similar progressions, with some differences with how many steps there are or stages. In my journey, I chose to integrate different systems and their learnings to create a system that incorporates methods and techniques that bring results while also doing their best to support the individual with our modern understanding and research on spirituality, neuroscience, and psychology. Overall, views on spiritual awakening and progression are varied and multifaceted. Some adhere to a philosophy of allowing things to unfold naturally without interference or intentional practice. This perspective, which honors an organic unfolding of the spiritual journey, is something I respect and see as a valid option. However, my view aligns with the belief that given a certain ripeness and readiness to embark on the path, There are several systems, roadmaps, and practices that can enhance the odds of waking up and accelerate the progress towards complete clarity of mind and the cessation of ego-induced suffering. The main point of this video is that there are several paths one can take to experience noticeable progression in how one perceives the world. Some people awake in the presence of a realized master or awakened person, some in the depths of despair, and some by using tools like energetic transmissions, meditation, self-inquiry, or having a sudden insight into the nature of the mind. If you have been practicing for years but feel stuck and things are not progressing, then perhaps you need to look for a new way to approach this. It's crucial to remember that whichever route one takes, the road isn't always easy and comfortable. Incorporating aspects of shadow work to explore the unconscious, complementing any method with meditation and practices that evoke feelings of love and grace, such as gratitude and loving kindness, can be vital. These can also be facilitated through energy work. Having support, perhaps in the form of a community or at least some human interaction, is incredibly beneficial when encountering dark nights of the soul, heavy emotional experiences, or other overwhelming or ungrounding experiences. I'd also caution extreme care if one has history of mental illnesses such as psychosis, as some spiritual practices might be too much for the fragile mind. In modern society, we don't often really have space for people to go through these processes in such a way the individual would need and with the support they would need. Perhaps some therapy or other means might be good preliminary work before delving, for example, to too strong energy work. And before all, take it slow and be sure to take breaks if things become too intense. Free tool for spiritual development: retranscendence. Note, this tool is intended only for individuals who are mentally healthy. It's not recommended for those suffering from severe mental illnesses such as psychosis. This is because the experience may trigger overwhelming sensations if the individual is in a fragile mental state and does not have a safe, supportive space to navigate the process. The energetic tool's main function is to open and perfect all 13 bhumis on the path to enlightenment. It aims to purify your substrate consciousness, to attain light body, and to stabilize your level of consciousness at 1000, a state of pure enlightenment. What this does, it elevates consciousness. With the intentions to elevate your level of consciousness, retranscendence guides you on a journey towards an expanded awareness, offering an opportunity to connect with your innate wisdom. The audio includes a dedicated segment for dissolving subconscious beliefs that might hinder spiritual awakening process. It clears the way for you to truly encounter your divine essence. Journey with the tool begins with 2 minutes of deep meditative state, providing a grounding foundation to prepare you for the transformative experience ahead. After that, there's 8 minutes of vibration raising field, coupled with some supportive fields and energies amplifying the effects. After the track is complete, 5 minutes are dedicated to integration field, a time for you to absorb and settle into the profound changes awakened by this spiritual journey. 10 to 20 minutes per day is plenty enough to start noticing changes as days, weeks, and months pass. You can find the link to retranscendence below in the description. There are several resources and tools to help you with all this for free on our website rebelenergetics.com or our YouTube channel. We also offer more personalized paid training and support, for example, awakening guidance. More information can be found on the website. Some other free tools on our YouTube channel include Infusion of Love, which is a transmission of Christ consciousness and love, which is a good alternative or complementary resource to gratitude and loving kindness practices. The Shadow Work tool, which resolves automatically shadow issues, cleaning up consciousness. Towards Freedom, it's a 2-hour transmission to resolve negative thought forms and patterns and limiting beliefs. Master of Mind guides you automatically to different meditation states, making meditation easier to do if that is something you find difficult. Safe place. That's energy for grounding, clearing, and integrating energy work. Instead of quantity, we aim to give the highest quality tools. Conclusion. If I could give one advice about spirituality, and this is based on my own experiences and the experience of observing others in the different communities I've been part of, and that is start practicing and doing the work. It's very easy to go on the academic route of reading and consuming loads of content. Gaining spiritual intelligence from studying is a different thing from raising your level of consciousness by practice and perceiving the progress in your state of being. One can intellectually know everything about awakening and non-duality, but it's different from living from that space. Like you could read 100 books about swimming, but it's different from physically learning to swim in the water. Some information and continual learning is of course beneficial, like learning about roadmaps and effective techniques to create results. But if you're not doing any practice, start now. Maybe 5 minutes of meditation or energy work per day, but do it every day. Once that is easy, increase it to 10 minutes, then 15, 20. But if you notice starting to skip days, bring it back down. It's much better to do daily actions of 10 minutes than 30 or 40 minutes once a week or once in 2 weeks. Don't let a day go by when you don't do at least a small action that takes you forwards, whatever small step it is. If at evening you are going to bed and notice you've not done anything today, do 5 minutes of gratitude or forgiveness to keep the chain of actions unbroken from day to day. And if you fall on your face and notice that you've not done anything in 3 weeks, just start again. The main thing is that I found it's important to have a balance of doing and studying. Oftentimes when we consume information, we get a dopamine hit and it's fun, so we might gravitate more to studying and learning compared to doing the work, which usually takes more effort. So it's good to question yourself that are you taking the necessary steps in the right direction, or are you just entertaining yourself with the information and being stuck without real progress? And if you notice you're entertaining yourself and that's fine with you, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with that either. Now it's time to wrap up. Those were some systems and path maps I personally found beneficial. I've complemented these approaches by modern psychology with a strong focus on shadow work and different therapeutic modalities. Ken Wilber's integral theory pushed me to have a holistic view of mind, body, spirit and shadow and include those in the daily practices I do. One thing to notice is that you can find criticism pretty much on all systems, and usually these are arguments between different traditions about what is the right way. Often it's people who have really fundamental beliefs that their tradition is the only one and are not open to exploring any other views. I'm more concerned about what gets results and progress while doing it in a safe and supported way. If you want to learn more about our way of working with all of this, you can check out rebelenergetics.com, where we guide people to become the best versions of themselves. The fundamental elements of focus are body, mind, spirit and shadow. Heal, grow and awaken. I recently also made a video about shadow work and how to do it automatically using our free tools, and it was well received, so check out also that video on our channel if the topic interests you. Thank you for joining us on this profound exploration of the self. If you found value in today's content, please consider subscribing for more insights and transformative methods. The best way to support this channel is to like and hit that notification bell so you will never miss out on the latest releases. May your journey be blessed with love, light and profound realizations.